Hello again. I have another reading lesson for you this week, and I know we've learned so much in reading this week. Our brains have learned so much, but I have another Goldilocks story for us. So far, we have talked about the characters in the story, which are the people or the animals. Yesterday, we talked about the setting of the story, which is where those animals and people are in the book. So, like the beach or in Goldilocks, they were in the Three Bears' home. Today, while I'm reading, I want you thinking about how the story goes. So, when I tell a story, I tell it in a certain way that it makes sense. And I tell it that way every time because that's how it happens. So, in the morning, when I get out of bed, I get dressed, I eat breakfast, I brush my teeth. That's how I do things every day. And if I was going to tell somebody about that, I would tell them, I get out of bed and get dressed, I eat breakfast, and I brush my teeth. We call that sequencing. Sequencing. A sequence is the way we do things. So while I'm reading today, I want you thinking about is the order that things happen in the story. So Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Now, we have an author and an illustrator of our book. We've been talking about them. The author and the illustrator of our book, remember the author, writes these words. Her name is Sarah Delmange, and she wrote these words. The illustrator, remember they do the illustrations or the pictures, is Gavin Scott. Let's see, this is a new Goldilocks book. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Remember, you're listening for the way things happen, when they happen. Once upon a time, Goldilocks was playing in the woods near her home. As she skipped along the pebbly path, her golden locks bouncing, Goldilocks suddenly stopped and sniffed the air. A yummy smell was coming from the middle of the woods. This is a little bit different than the other stories we've read. The last story, her mom sent her to town. This one, she just smells something yummy. Rumble, rumble, as her tummy grumbled loudly, Goldilocks followed the delicious smell. She soon found herself in front of a little house. I wonder who lives here, she said. You can see the smell in the air. Goldilocks knocked loudly on the front door. Knock, knock, knock. But on the last knock, the door swung open. There was no one home. Goldilocks saw 3 bowls of porridge on the kitchen table. I'm sure no one will mind if I taste a little of this porridge, she told herself. Remember, Goldilocks, that's what Goldilocks wants to do. Goldilocks ate a spoonful of porridge from the biggest bowl. Yuck, she cried. This porridge is much too cold. Goldilocks tried the medium-sized bowl. Ouch, she gasped. This porridge is much too hot. Finally, Goldilocks took a little mouthful from the smallest bowl. She sighed. This porridge is perfect. And she ate it all up. Then Goldilocks went into the living room for a rest. She saw a big chair and a medium-sized chair and a tiny little chair. Goldilocks climbed into the biggest chair. This chair is too big, she said. It looks too big. Next, Goldilocks clambered onto the medium-sized chair. The cushions were very squishy. This chair is too soft, she cried. Then Goldilocks tried the tiny chair. This chair is perfect, beamed Goldilocks. She was just getting comfortable when, crack! The chair broke into pieces. Oh no, Goldilocks gasped. Perhaps I should lie down instead. Maybe she won't break the bed. Upstairs, Goldilocks found a big bed, a medium-sized bed, and a tiny little bed. When she jumped on the big bed, it was too hard. The medium-sized bed was too soft for bouncing, and the little bed was perfect. Goldilocks sighed happily, and the little girl crawled under the covers and fell asleep. She's fast asleep. Meanwhile, 3 hungry bears returned to the little house. They had been for a walk while their hot porridge cooled down, but the door was already open, and there were muddy footprints in the hall. Someone's been eating my porridge, roared Daddy Bear. Someone's been eating my porridge too, growled Mommy Bear. Look, squeaked Baby Bear, my porridge is all gone. The three bears went into the living room. Someone's been sitting in my chair, roared Daddy Bear. Someone's been sitting in my chair too, growled Mommy Bear. Someone's been sitting in my chair and they've broken it. Suddenly the three bears heard a noise coming. Someone's been sleeping in my bed, roared Daddy Bear. As he stepped into the bedroom, someone's been sleeping in my bed too, growled Mommy Bear, straightening the cover. There she is. Someone's been sleeping in my bed, squeaked Baby Bear, and she's still there. Goldilocks woke up with a start and screamed, "Ah!" The three bears watched in surprise as she ran through the forest as fast as her little legs would carry her. And guess what? The three bears never saw Goldilocks again. The end. That was really similar to the books that we've read, but it was a tiny bit different. In your packet, you have this page again. We're going to finish it today. So we've talked about the characters, Goldilocks, Baby Bear, Mama Bear, and Papa Bear, who is in the story. We've talked about the setting of the story, which is where those characters are, and they are in the three bears' home. Now, this is sequencing, that long word that I said before I read the book, and I asked you to think about and listen for the way things happen. In your packet, you have this page. You're only going to need one set of the pictures. The printer thought that you needed two, but you don't. You just need one. So we're going to cut these out. I've already colored mine, but I'm going to cut them out real quick. I wanted to leave them both on the page so I could show you that you only need one. Here we go. Now I have chairs, porridge, and beds. Now, what do you remember happening first? Did she go in and go to sleep? No, she went in and ate the porridge. Here we go, a little bit of glue. There's the number one. Number two, is that when she went to sleep? No, she sat in the chairs. Then did she fall asleep? Then she went to bed. So we have first came the porridge, second came the chairs, and third came the bed. So I want you to cut, color, and glue your pictures in that order so that we know that's the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Next week, we have a new fairy tale. So I hope that you did really great practice this week. So next week, you can do these same activities with our new fairy tale. I hope that you have a good week.